Hey guys, welcome to the We Need to Calm Down podcast. I'm Devon.
And I'm Joe.
And this is a show where we talk about all things Taylor Swift.
That's right. This is the show where we talk about folklore a lot.
Only folklore for now. So we'll be discussing everything from folklore to folklore to folklore, including song breakdowns.
I thought you were going to say including folklore. What's new with you? How you been?
I'm good. I've been, living life, living large, working still in this pandemic.
I watched a new movie I think you might like.
Really? Explain. Do tell.
Yeah, I watched this movie the other day on Hulu called Palm Springs. Have you seen or heard of it?
I feel like I've seen advertisements for it.
You're the second person to say that. I have seen no advertisements for this movie, but it popped up. I went on Hulu randomly. I never go on Hulu. And I saw an Andy Samberg movie.
Oh.
Palm Springs. And it looked like a rom-com. And it had Kristen. I looked up her name so I could pronounce it for this thing. Milanetti. Milanetti. Who is the mother from How I Met Your Mother. So I'll watch anything she's in. She's absolutely adorable. It was a very interesting, unique love story. I liked it a lot. Very cheesy, very corny. I wouldn't say it's like a groundbreaking movie, but 90 minutes, loved it.
And Andy Samberg's in it?
Andy Samberg's the lead. Andy Samberg's in it. J.K. Simmons is in it. Camilla Mendes is in it.
Oh.
Yeah, like it has a pretty decent cast.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
Did you ever see When We First Met on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, for the listeners, if you've seen When We First Met, you will absolutely love Palm Springs. And if you've seen When We First Met, you'll probably know why. Devon has 2 movies to watch now.
See, I usually love rom-coms, and I watched this one movie on Netflix that was like a rom-com with the guy from, oh God, what the hell is his name? Workaholics.
I swear to God, Devon, if you're talking about When We First Met, because that's Adam Levine.
Oh.
Did When We First Met. Was it about going back in time and meeting the same person over and over again? I swear to God, Devon, I hate you so much. Oh my gosh. Yes, if you liked that movie, you'll like Palm Springs. It's the exact same thing.
Oh, I liked it. It's been a while. I haven't been in a love movie kind of mood, but good.
When We First Met is one of my favorites. It's very, very cute. It's very stupid, very predictable, but great.
I cried at the end of it. I'm like, oh, I want love. But cool. Okay. Well, good. One movie to watch, not 2.
I haven't been into rom-coms lately. I haven't really been ramen, and I haven't really been common.
Oh, I love ramen. Okay, let's talk about folklore.
All right, Taylor Swift, Folklore.
We are breaking down the second track off of Folklore, which is Cardigan. I am wearing a cardigan right now. We're in the mood.
Mine's in the mail still. God knows when I'll actually get that from Taylor's store.
Yeah, this isn't the Taylor Swift cardigan. This is just a...
Looks similar, though. Has, the same color.
I could sew some stuff on.
Get some stars around your scars,
The whole cardigan is stars. Just all of me.
So before we jump in to these lyrics, I have another quick little blurb about the podcast before we start. Before we get into it, we have, like I said on the last episode, we've been going back and forth on how we wanted to tackle some of the song breakdowns. And we kind of landed on another new thing that we're going to try. So in addition to posting more episodes every other week, we decided that some of these songs, like this one, are just way too lyrically dense to really do it justice in just an hour. So we've decided to surgically remove our lyrical dive from this breakdown. And we'll be introducing a new type of episode called Between the Lines, where we will actually go line by line, breaking down the lyrics of certain songs. We're only picking a couple because there are certain songs that we just, and you might see them from how we went over our lyrics videos, but they're just so much we want to talk about that we really want to give it justice as we go through. We definitely think for this episode, we have enough to talk about outside of the lyrics for this song. So this should probably be a regular length episode. And then the next episode will probably be around the same. But for today, be focusing on just the context, the music and production, the music video of Cardigan, and we'll leave lyric talk to an absolute minimum so we can discuss it at length in a future episode, probably the next one that airs.
Yes. So let us get into it. So some quick facts about the song. It is a flat 4 minutes. It was produced and co-written with Aaron Dessner.
There you
Uh,
go.
yeah. It is the first single off of Folklore, which I say single lightly because it wasn't a promotional single, but it
Mm.
is the first one that, she released a whole separate song album CD with like an exclusive version of it. And she dropped the music video simultaneously with the album release. So
Mhm.
I will call it a single because I think right now they're trying to break some record with it right
Well,
now.
yeah, didn't she release like in her store, like you could buy the single as a vinyl, as a CD and
Yeah.
everything. And the way that she's doing it is if you buy it, that counts as a download as well.
Hmm.
So it's like doubling her sales for it. I'm sorry. I love Taylor, but I'm not buying a one song record,
Yeah. We love
even if it's 13
Taylor, but
bucks.
we like being financially stable.
You already completely destroyed my wallet and got half of it for all the merch that you put out. And I think she's done putting out special merch, which makes me sad.
Yeah, Joe kept
Um,
messaging me. He's like, "Well, if you decide to get anything, I want to add this." And he's like, "I just did it anyways. Never mind."
yeah, I never got that water bottle though. I'm really sad. I wanted that
Uh,
water bottle,
mm,
but I did get the $20 mug.
that's insane to me. Anyways, I love her. Moving on. So, do you want to go into some context around the song?
Yeah, sure. So, in her live chat before the song dropped, Taylor explained that this song is about a lost romance and why young love is often fixed so permanently within our memories, and why it leaves. And I love the word she used, an indelible mark.
Mm.
Um, Such a great word, and it shows that she has really been reading her dictionary and eating her Wheaties. Um, but the song has been actually, like, for me, I don't know how you've been seeing it from your friends, but it has been extremely mixed reviews for this.
I completely agree. Some people love it. Some people are like, "Ooh,
I've had a friend say that, like, I got into it with a friend a little bit because she was like, she put it all the way at the bottom. She thought that was the worst song of the album.
wow."
And I was like, for me it's starting to grow. Like, I'm starting to, this might topple Betty as the number one song, so keep your eye out, but if it
Mm.
hasn't already, in our weekly power rankings that come out every Wednesday. But no, like, it's so weird. Like, she was like, yeah, it just sounds like she's trying to impersonate Lana Del Rey,
Yep.
very breathy, blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, she did that with Wildest Dreams too, and that song is out of this world. So, like, how can this song not be?
That is a big criticism I've been hearing from people who don't like the song. Is they're like, "Oh, this is just like a Lana Del Rey ripoff." But it's
I didn't
like,
see. I mean, I haven't listened to a lot of contemporary Lana, but, like,
mhm,
I loved her first album, Dark Paradise, or whatever album Dark Paradise was on.
mhm.
And I love that album, but I don't see it as much. Like,
I can see where the inspiration draws, but Taylor just sounds different. Like just
mhm.
vocally, I don't think like I think that Lana is a true alto and Taylor is not a true alto. So it's like it just tone wise, it doesn't sound the same to me, but I see like where the inspiration came from for some of like the drawn out vocals and
Breathy.
I get it, but still a good song.
She's also a better songwriter than Lana. I'm sorry.
Mm.
If Lana writes her songs, I don't know. But
So this is also the first song in this so-called teenage love triangle that Taylor deems. And she talks about, it's this love triangle from three different people's perspectives at different points in their lives. So this is the first introduction we're seeing to that story, which we are going to pop off about on another episode. We're gonna, connect them all the lyrics, all the songs, all the kind of stuff. So we don't want to go too much into it, but we're just putting it out there. We know we're gonna talk about it.
yeah, I think, weirdly enough, for some reason, to me, knowing that this is a part of that trio, every song in that trio, like, gets a bump in how
Mm-hmm.
much I like it. I don't know why. It just feels like I get more out of the song knowing it.
The
So,
meaning
like,
behind it.
yeah, like, Betty was always going to be number one, but, like, August, I think, got, like, and is retaining how much I enjoy it because of the backstory between it. Same thing with Cardigan, like, just knowing that it has that tertiary meaning just
Mm-hmm.
really kind of, like, gives it an extra punch.
Yeah.
I think we also had like a little bit of a fight with this one. I wouldn't say a fight, like a conversation about like you said, this is between different perspectives at different times in their lives. But we were like trying to figure out like when in Betty's life did this song take place? Like what?
I don't think we had a fight. I think we both kind of when Taylor said that it was different points in their lives, I think we were both like, okay, this is definitely later.
Mm-hmm.
Like reminiscing back about this stuff happening, because I think, you know, the other two songs, you know, August and Betty, I think those are both very like in the moment kind of songs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think this song has the whole character, or has the whole, you know, context of reminiscing, and, you know, I didn't know anything but I knew this, and blah 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 blah, and we'll get into that later. But
Another thing actually that's very interesting, I think I shared this with you, but I don't think I ever got your opinion on it, so I'd love to talk to you a little bit about this. Is Taylor dropped a Cabin in Candlelight version of this song.
Yeah.
It's very stripped down. She again had another release where you can buy the single of the candle.
I listened on Spotify.
Yeah, I listen on Spotify as well. How do you like it compared to the OG version?
So we're going to talk about like the music and the production, and it's good. I like the Cabin in the Woods version, or Cabin in Candlelight. I just think Cabin in the Woods, but I like it. It's a good version, but I have such an appreciation for the original and the production behind that I don't think anything will compare personally.
It's weird because like when she does this and comes out with different versions of the same song, part of me is like, oh well, I'll listen to this when I'm in this mood, and I never do. Like that happened with Lover with the Shawn Mendes remix, and I was like, oh, I'll definitely listen to this when I'm in a different mood, but I know you don't like it.
Icky. Still don't like it.
I've been trying to like get myself to listen to this version a lot more, but it's also hard because the only thing I'm listening to is the song, or is the album on repeat, and this is technically not on the album, so it never comes up.
Personally, for me, and maybe it's just because I'm a little jaded in the music industry, but I feel like people really only do this to gain more streams, because it's like, oh, it's a new version, let me listen to this, and you get all the people who have listened to it and don't want to listen to it again that are like, oh well, now I have to listen to this new version to see what it's like. That's my marketing standpoint. I think that some people do, you know, all these remixes and stuff just because they want to, but I just like to think back to the Justin Bieber Yummy remix, and that there's like 10 different remixes, and he only did that because of promotional, he wanted more streams.
Proudly have never heard that song.
Good.
I've heard nothing.
Never.
I was a believer for a brief moment in time.
But honestly, I love Justin Bieber. I love his entire discography except for Yummy, and then probably like one other song. But that's another day.
That's another day. Mm-hmm. We don't talk about men pop stars on this podcast.
Men.
All right.
Lucky.
No, you're right. You're very right. All right. So she also released a special cardigan that she shared with countless celebrities and not us, even though we do a podcast about her.
Our PR didn't reach out to her PR.
Could you imagine if like we just randomly got a cardigan after starting this podcast?
I would jump out a window.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like I would be too good to live. But maybe one day we'll aspire to getting some kind of clothing from Taylor Swift. That sounded wrong.
It did.
But she shared a bunch of them. Some of the notable ones that I know of is like Halsey got one. That's it.
Troye Sivan.
Oh yeah.
Brendan Urie's wife got one.
Did she really?
Mm-hmm.
See, now this doesn't bode well, because why didn't Brendan Urie get one? Again, I bought this cardigan under the guise that it is unisex.
If you don't like it, I'll just buy it off you. Well, actually, I don't know what size you got.
I got a large.
I am a tiny girl, so I don't know if that'll. It's an oversized.
If I don't like it, I might just like shadow box it and hang it up as like memorabilia. If people can do it with a jersey, I can do it with a Taylor Swift cardigan.
Yeah. So now it's the part of the show, which is coming a lot sooner than it normally would, is the music behind the lyrics, where Devon explains music to Joe. So music, there is a concept I don't know about if you know or not. So I listened to this song. I listened to it left panned, right panned, and then normal. So you have a confused face. So what panning is when you mix music, you can pan it. So you can pan it to your left or pan it to your right. So when you're listening on headphones, you like hear something on your left that's different than what's on your right.
I tried doing that with podcasts before. With another podcast that I do, we tried to do binaural. So like
Mm-hmm.
one person was center, one person was left, and one person was right. So it felt like you were in the
in.
middle of your head was in the middle of a table as people were talking to each other. But it didn't go well, so we didn't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's also hard when you pan it so much that it's like when you have a pair of crappy headphones and one of them doesn't work, so you're only listening to it, and that's how you find out a lot of stuff about music. You're like, oh, I didn't hear that before. Or when your car speakers only like one speaker works. I've experienced both. But anyways, so I listened to it. I really didn't find that much different until one part of the song, and oh my god! So we'll talk about that.
Wait. How? So okay. I'm sorry. I just want to get some context here. Why did you do this?
I should have been doing it from the very beginning. I should have done it with the one, but I think the one was kind of simple enough. But for this album, I will be doing that because I feel like mixed wise.
What gave you that idea?
I don't know. I feel like I should have been doing it from the beginning, but
it's just something I never thought of. Like, it's so interesting. I love that.
well, because I was thinking about the actual production behind it, and it's like I can't have the mix in front of me because I know about like how you mix and produce a song
so do you just put the one headphone in when you're listening and then you listen? So what do you do?
So I have my headphones on now. In your settings for your audio, you can pan it. So you can put all left, all right. So that's what I did, and then I listened to it normal.
God, Macs are great.
Mm-hmm. Team Mac. I wasn't for until like a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Same.
Whenever we started recording this.
Whenever we started doing this podcast, we both converted to Mac.
Yes. So, okay. So there are only, what is it? Oh, this is one of 2 minor chord songs on this album. Every other song is in major, except for this song, which is in C major. And then I forget the other song, but you wouldn't think it's minor.
Oh, I remember what it was. Was it Betty? I
want to say it was Betty.
Which, come on, it can't be Betty. Like, this is what, like, when we started incorporating this into our song breakdowns, I'm the one that looked this stuff up, and it really pissed me off because it's just like nothing fits with what I thought it would be.
It really ruffled my feathers.
It just really made me. No, it wasn't Betty. It was Invisible String.
That was it, because it's one of the cheeriest songs in minor. I think that's so brilliant. But anyways, so the song is 130 BPM, so slightly lower than the one. And then, in the words of TikTok, rip if it is over by now, instrument check. So we got cello, we got violin, we got viola, we got trombone, we got synthesizer, we got mellotron, we got electric guitar, bass, and piano.
We have a mellotron on this song too?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
It's in some parts. It's like a lot of the instruments are very like soft and kind of just like complementing each other. It doesn't really need to be front and center. A lot of it on this album is like orchestral and kind of like atmospheric, which I really appreciate. So overall, when I listen to it, the music makes me feel like this happy, sad, reminiscent longing. And I don't know how they mixed it. Like I said, I would love to see like, I don't know what program they used, but it feels like they went to Reverb City. Like it just feels so full and it's just like, so good. Just so good.
Reverb City is the exit right before Bridge City.
Take me down to the Reverb City. I feel like that's the name of a store, Reverb City.
It's gotta be.
A big party city, but Reverb City.
Like or Circuit City. There are a lot of stores that don't exist anymore that started with City.
Rip. Okay. So we talked about this briefly last episode, but there's this percussion at the very beginning of the song, and it's like this, it sounds like a shaker, and then these like, it's like shh, shh, and then the piano comes in. But it sounds like she's walking on the cobblestones that she talks about later. It's like high heels on cobblestone. Like that's the imagery that instantly comes up for me.
We were talking about that, and we mentioned that in was it the one breakdown? Yeah, like where we couldn't figure out why this starts that way.
It's so interesting.
I would kill to know why she starts the song with walking, because like the only thing in it is high heels on cobblestones. Okay, but is that warrant to start the song
like the way that I see it is the song is very reminiscent, and I feel like you do a lot of deep thinking on like walks by yourself.
Okay.
So I picture it her walking home like late at night and
Down Cornelia Street, maybe.
don't get me started. Oh, that's so good. Maybe, maybe. So we have this simple little percussion and the do 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 do, and that kind of repeats do 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 do. And we get when she says sequin smile, these drums kick in. It's like a heavier drum pattern, and you have this snare hit that's like tsh, and it kind of reminds me of when Jack Antonoff was talking about that snare and Lover, but it's less deep and more just kind of like tsh, and I really like it. So also I just I went off on listening because I'm like I'm trying to think of all the instruments they have and where they're coming in. You have this piano walk down if you like listen to it, and it's just like this high octave. It's just it just like walks down, and it's like so cool. It's just so cool how many little things when you produce music that you just don't even think about.
You used that term before. Where did you use that term before?
A
Walk
walk
down.
down. We used it in I want to say was it
Is it
Lover?
Lover?
Yeah, because it's your dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
This
so
is my favorite part about this section of the podcast. Is where
mhm.
like I literally am learning stuff and like I can use it in the future. Oh my gosh.
Joe told me he
Tell me
does
more.
use it to like flex on people, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm
Yeah.
glad.
I
Um,
cite my sources. I always cite my wonderful, amazing co-host of the We Need to Calm Down podcast.
Thank you. So I had this moment. So I was listening to it and I'm like, why does the chorus sound so good? Besides it just being good, because there's a reason why, sonically, why it sounds good. So I'm looking at the chords and then I like run over to my piano and I like start playing it. And so the reason why is because in the very beginning, you're only getting that E minor chord, A chord, and G chord. And it's just going back and forth. And it's like, okay, okay. But it's not really resolving. And then you get the D chord. And the D chord just completes it and just brings it together. Because usually when you play a song, you play it with four chords.
Four chords, yeah.
So when you bring that D in, you're finally like, that's what was missing. And I think it just sounds so cool because, you know, when you are young, they assume you know nothing, but I knew you. And it like, and she goes back and she like explains it. And I feel like the resolve just sounds so good in comparison to the lyrics. It's just great. And
I will say I don't have as much musical theory as you. I do play guitar, but
mhm.
I don't know anything about that. I am playing this song immediately when we hang up and trying to see how that works.
I was trying to play it on guitar, but my guitar, the strings are just awful. I bought new ones. I just haven't done it yet. So I like ran to my keyboard and I was like, okay, that's my instrument. But it sounds like she layered her vocals in the chorus, like the same tone. It just sounds like she just sang it twice to add fullness to it. And there's these slight harmonies at the end, but they don't really come in until later. So then we get to the next verse, and I can't explain why, but when I first listened, I was like, it sounds windy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but then I listened more to it. I'm like, those are the strings. Like the strings are just adding this layer of I think windy is the wrong word, but it just adds like you're just kind of swaying and being taken by these violins like unconsciously. But it just like
We mentioned that a lot. This is such a
the
sway
sway
record.
and it's so unconscious and that's
Mm-hmm.
so brilliant. It just adds so much dimension to it. So then you get to the second chorus and then you hear these harmonies a bit more and then we get to the bridge and this is where the left pan and right pan really comes in. So you get to kissing cars and downtown bars and you have this little thing in the background where she's going ah, it sounds so cool and then it's like centered and you hear it on both sides but then it pans left and it pans right. So on your left you have the harmonies of you drew stars around my scars but now I'm bleeding and you hear the ahs very faintly, but then on the right you hear the ahs more pronounced and you can't really hear the harmonies. So it just imagine like harmonies in one ear and these ahs and it just like when you listen it just sounds so full and then it just goes into the chorus and it just resolves again and just kind of like it's like a wave crashing. It's so cool.
Which I mean goes into the visual imagery she was going for too.
Yeah.
God, that's nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's just this little electric guitar ending that I didn't really notice until I was like, oh yeah, that's an electric guitar. But
I'm gonna listen to this in a completely different way now. I am so excited. Oh my gosh.
and that's what you missed on Music Time with Devon. Thank you for listening to that.
I feel like I learned a lot. I'm excited to start flexing on more people with more knowledge. So I kind of like flexed my college English, not degree. I didn't get a degree, but I wrote a lot of research papers, and I wanted to just go through some allegory, go through some what this woman was trying to do with her second directorial debut. She directed this video by herself, with a very very safe and sanitized crew. She made it very apparent they jumped through hoops, had like people on site for everything. But it's such a breathtaking and simple video. Um, Devon, I think I mentioned this earlier when we started doing these episodes, that I never really watched music videos. I was never a music video person.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to be now. And I think we did a quick thing where we were like, "What is our favorite music video?" And I picked a random one because I had no idea. I didn't watch any of
You
them.
picked Wildest Dreams.
Yeah, and you picked "Look What You Made Me Do," a sensible choice because it is a phenomenal music video. This might be my favorite one now.
Yeah, it's really good. I do like it a lot.
It's weird because like I do love music videos that have like a story, but this has like such a weird
This does have a story
story.
to
It
it.
yeah, like it does. Like it has like this interesting story. So, um, one of the things that like we learn in creative writing classes
Yeah, Joe
is
is gonna flex on everyone, and I'm just gonna
I'm gonna
sit
try.
here in awe and then just comment.
I'm so afraid that I'm not actually going to be that revolutionary. It's going to come off really bad. Like it's not going to come off as cool and in depth as what you did. But here we go. So this video does take place over 3 different significant scenes that kind of symbolize the idea of remembering a relationship, which aside from me, I love the concept of this because as we saw in the one song breakdown when we did our quick end games, I constantly am reminiscing and wallowing in past relationships. So this just like strikes a chord, pun intended, with me. Just because I love sitting back and remembering old relationships. But we start this video in an old cottage that's on a very beat up and very dirty piano. And this disheveled piano could signify that like it hasn't been played in a long time, which could be an allegory to the memory that we're about to endure. Like she hasn't thought about James in a very long time, which leads credence to when I said this could have been like 20 years after the whole what thing went down where James cheated on her.
Yeah.
And it also lends credence to where Taylor said herself that like these relationships, especially at a young age, leave an indelible mark. Even 20 years later, this dirty, beat up piano of a memory is still like feeding back into her mind. And the thing I like about it too is she's alone in a cabin or like a cottage kind of style. So she's not with anyone. She's just taking the time to remember this, which I think I absolutely love that image. A couple of quick Easter eggs about where we see in this first scene. We do get a picture of Taylor's grandfather off on the corner, inspired Epiphany. She wrote from his perspective.
A wonderful song.
Oh my gosh. A song. We also get a shot at a clock showing what time, Devon? What time would this clock show?
It shows 1:15.
Which is why 1:15? 13. 1 3 13. Yeah, so we always get a 13 in Taylor. I like that. It was very subtle in this one. I really enjoyed like trying to find that one because there's no other place it could be.
Hand on the 1, hand on the 3, 13. Continue.
No, so we start with normal lyrics in the beginning. They're very vague, reminiscent lyrics, and we'll go over more of them in depth in our next episode. But they're nothing specific and nothing really pinpointing where this memory will go, which I think is really interesting because there are a lot of times in your life, I'm speaking as you, but also in my life,
In my
where
life.
you never really expect to go down memory lane. Like you'll just be, if you're like me, I live at home alone, and there'll be something that'll strike a memory and that'll like snowball into another memory, and you see like these memories are very like high heels on cobblestone, vintage tea, brand new phone. Like that could be anyone, that could be anything, but then it starts to get more and more specific as we go. And once we hit that I knew you, we start to see pixie dust explode out of the, well, not explode, but come out of the top of the piano, which obviously catches her eye and kind of reminiscent of Peter Pan's pixie dust. But we'll get into that a little bit more later. But you see, she catches her eye and she starts to open the back of the piano to investigate what this mystery powder is. And we see like this I knew you is like our springboard into remembering the boy or girl
Thank you.
from Betty's past. An interesting note about this pixie dust, it does also resemble the same dust that emanated from the note that she received in the Delicate music video. The glitter is also golden, which, as we know from Daylight, love is we thought it was red, but it's actually golden. So this dust shows that like we're going back to a memory of love.
Yes.
So when we hit that refrain, we are then whisked away to this magic, beautiful memory. This scene reminds me of Speak Now in every which way.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's so amazing. Like, and it like I remember I was blown away when we first reacted to it when it launched live. But it's so vibrant. Even her foot stepping out onto the grass looks like you're just like, I want to step on that grass. But it's very vibrant, enchanted. Speak Now. Surreal, which kind of like shows like her view on this love that she was in. It's like her happy place. It shows like she's doing these memories of like this, what young love really is, like this beautiful, enchanting thing that you just don't quite understand because you're too young to get it, which is when you were young, they assume you know nothing. So she harps on this idea. Sorry. It fits the themes for this song and the themes that Taylor has employed over her whole career. She harps on this idea that your memories of events in your life, especially love, take these standout points and magnify them 1,000 times because those are the points that you remember the best. You don't remember a random Tuesday with an ex-partner, but you do remember that night when you both said I love you for the first time. This also applies, though, to the lowest points of your relationship, which we'll get into soon. But an interesting note, a couple of things about this scene. Fans have pointed out the waterfall flowing from the piano, while absolutely beautiful, does resemble the piano that Harry Styles plays in his music video for Falling, which I've actually never heard the song.
Love it. Oh, Harry Styles, man.
I've never really listened to Harry Styles. Taylor did date him, though. They wrote a bunch of songs about each other, allegedly.
So good. So good.
So I'm definitely going to be listening to this song. But it's also interesting to note that in this version of the memory, we see water pouring out of the piano, and the beauty of this scene. But while later we see the exact opposite, where the water is all around the piano and she's clinging onto it. There's no beauty in the water in the next scene.
Mm-hmm.
But we do start to get a picture of the ill times in this scene too. But it's interesting because as she starts to remember more about the relationship, we get to the line, chase two girls, lose the one, which is kind of like a turning point of like, all right, it's not all happy memories. There's clearly some ill will here. But while she's singing it, she's smirking a bit. So like, I don't know how you get when you remember things, but like, at least when I'm remembering like the beginning, like downfalls of a relationship, I do kind of smirk a little bit to myself. I'm like, yep, that's where it went wrong. Like, that's where it is. Before I wallow. And boy, do I wallow. But it's not that part of the memory isn't the memory that stings. And she follows it up again with that repeated line, when you were young, they assume you know nothing. And then we're brought back into very positive memories about the relationship. Great and like interesting things, specific things that she brings up. Mm-hmm. The piano, to note also, is it takes a drastic change from the one in the cottage. It's no longer old and beat up. It's actually a completely different style. I think this one's a baby grand, while the other one is a type of piano. I don't know, because everyone only knows one type of piano.
Only one.
I used to have the one that's in the cabbage.
The cottage.
Cottage. I used to have the one that was in the cottage in my old house. But yeah, so this is a baby grand now. Keys are cleaner. And like I said, it takes on this beautiful visage. And it's the centerpiece for the scene. It's practically a character in and of itself. And the change for it shows that this is the purest parts of the memories in her relationship. Finally, we leave this second scene of positive remembrance through entering the piano bench, this time to the lyrics, but now I'm bleeding. And we hit the memory that isn't so beautiful. That's when we get the gun punching lyrics of we are beaten down by the weight of the bad times of the relationship. You see, she's treading water in this giant thunderstorm in the middle of an ocean. There's nothing around to save her except for this piano. And this is where we get like those like leaving like a father, running like water, like all of these just like and like we talked about these lyrics a lot, leaving like a father, running like water, where like we don't have time to breathe over every memory that's going on. And we don't get to like we constantly say it. We don't get to harp on the fact leaving like a father is such a gut punch of a line, but we don't have time to think about it because we're on to the next one, running like water. And she doesn't have time either. She's drowning in like these memories of like this bad times that you like wallowing. But she starts clinging to her piano to stay afloat, clinging to her music. Her clinging to the piano symbolizes that music is what will get her through this pain and what will eventually save her. In an interview with Vogue, Taylor said that her music was the only way she survived the public turning on her, which we see her mention in a bunch of songs later down the line.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, I know you had a point about this.
Yeah, so going off on that, pixie dust is what's allowing her to travel. But I think it's a really interesting point that music, her piano, is the medium of travel that she's actually going through. She's using her music to transport her. You know, she was going through the bench and she's going through the top of the piano. It's like that is what's taking her back and transporting her, which I think is, you know, we've talked about her using music to snapshot a picture in time, and that's just what she's referring back to, which is really cool.
100%. I also think like fans have been drawing parallels between the visuals of her drowning to her music video Out of the Woods, which I'm shocked you didn't mention because I think, is that one of your favorites?
Out of the Woods?
I don't know why I thought that was one of your favorites.
I like it. Don't get me wrong, but
I'll shut up now. But Out of the Woods is a video and a song about a relationship full of anxiety. The video for Out of the Woods is also heavily woods themed, obviously. But the visual parallels between the two are absolutely striking. Like you get a lot of like those tangled woods and stuff like that you see in the previous scene, and then like drowning in water again. And then we get towards the end of this scene where Taylor is finally saved by the magic pixie dust once again and climbs back into the piano during the line, "You'll come back to me." This references many things. Like you can really dissect this line into a billion different things. James coming back to Betty's porch to apologize, but also the memory. This memory keeps coming back to Betty, the good, the bad, the whole thing. And what's even worse, not worse, I would say, but you can tell it's not something she's avoiding. She knew this memory was coming when she first started this, and she willingly climbed into that piano. It's not like she was like, oh, I wonder where this is going to take me. No, she knew. She was there specifically to remember this boy from her childhood, and she had no fear about it. And this probably isn't the first time she's done it either. She knows what's on the other side of that. She knows that she has that beauty, and that she knows that she has that drowning, which, I mean, I don't know about you. I go through that with everything, with all of my relationships. I go, oh yeah, I remember the good times. And I remember when I was absolutely miserable. And we do that with music too, where we accentuate that. When I'm depressed, I know exactly what's going to cure me. Depressing music. Oh, it didn't work. But it shows that Taylor doesn't fear these memories. She doesn't hate them. She welcomes them, and she makes time for them specifically. Taylor reemerges back into the cottage to the refrain again, donning her cardigan and for comfort and reeling a bit from the memory. But in the end, we do see a bit of a wry smile come through. Even though she drowns in the memory from time to time, she, like I said, she doesn't fear them. When she steps out of the piano, though, it's interesting. The shot of her foot stepping onto the keys is very reminiscent of a scene from the Peter Pan movie when Peter teaches Wendy how to fly, which has been a big overarching theme in the lyrics, everything like that. Also, her dress definitely resembles the nightgown Wendy wears in that movie. But outside of that, like, I mean, we can end on that. I kind of popped off a bit, but
you did, but it's good. I mean, that was a lot.
So good. So good.
And we still have to talk about lyrics in the next episode.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna
still
be so
much more.
We do have a little bit of time though. Do you want to do an end game?
I always want to do an end game.
I love this.
For the folks at home who do not know what an end game is, it is a new segment we started last episode where we are going and taking BuzzFeed quizzes like the millennials we are regarding Taylor Swift. We're going to take like a little quiz. Let us, see how it is, see what we get. So what are we doing today, Joe?
All right, so this one I kind of regardless of how long we wanted, I wanted to kind of sneak this one in if I could. But this one is everyone's personality matches one of the scenes from Taylor Swift's Cardigan music video. So I'm really excited to learn that your scene that it matches is the beautiful, happy forest, and that mine is drowning, because clearly that's where we always end up on these, and it's always super depressing for me, but very hopeful for you.
It's like Devon's happy and blah 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 and comfortable, and Joe is just wallowing.
Joe is wallowing and happy about it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So these aren't like specifically to do with Taylor. These are just, we're gonna do some like generic questions, get a Taylor response. So choose a color: blue, brown, green, white, purple, or black.
Green, baby.
Really?
Green's my favorite color.
I gotta go with blue. It's not it used to be my favorite color, but it's not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Choose your favorite animal: cat, dog, horse, goldfish. Who the heck picks goldfish?
I'll do dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna do dog as well, even though I own a cat.
Yeah.
She knows. Which Taylor Swift album do you like the most? Lover, Reputation, 1980. Well, I don't need to list them. We know all of the albums.
Red.
Yeah, it's a hard one now. Red. I went with Folklore.
I didn't know that was an option.
Oh, do you want to change it? I changed it for you. I can change it back.
Let's go with Red for now.
Okay.
I do love Folklore.
For now. Describe yourself in one word: kind, loyal, intelligent, cute, bossy, or mysterious.
I'll say loyal.
Loyal? It's hard because I'm equally as cute as I am intelligent. I'm gonna go with kind. Choose a dessert: cake, ice cream, cupcake. Get out of here. Fruit. Come on. Cookies, or I'm not a dessert person.
Ice cream.
Yeah.
Wrecks my stomach, but
I was gonna say that's why I can't do that one.
I live through the pain. That's fine.
I'm gonna go with cake. Go with cake. When were you born?
In what context?
What month?
Oh, well, you didn't say that. You said, when were you born? May.
How did I not know that? Oh, this is gonna separate the yous from the me's. Choose an artist: Ariana Grande, Halsey. My answer's done. Selena Gomez, Frank Ocean, Normani, or Harry Styles.
Frank Ocean or Harry Styles.
I knew it was going to be between those two.
I'm going to go with Harry.
Yeah, I thought so.
Sorry, Frank Ocean fans. I love him.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night owl.
Night owl, a bit of both, or it changes all the time?
Night owl.
I don't know what. Okay, night owl. I'm going to say it changes all the time. Pick a weather: sunny, rainy, cloudy, snowy, windy, icy.
Let's do cloudy.
Ooh. Lastly, pick a number. Jesus. 1, 3, or 4. 2, 8, or 9. 5, 6, or 7. 0.
7.
Honestly,
my lucky number.
7.
Rhymes with Devon.
Well, this is a pleasant surprise. Devon clearly got the forest. You have an amazing, beautiful, lovely personality. People admire your serene nature and feel a sense of great peace in your presence. You love to explore. Yes. I got Taylor's house.
Oh.
Nothing depressing. So happy.
Okay.
You're sweet, heartwarming, very kind. You bring a sense of comfort and security to your friends and family and prefer familiarity over spontaneity. Ain't that the truth?
I was going to say, that sounds accurate.
Yeah.
Cool. Not depressing. You're not like the ocean crashing down.
I want to know what the description for the ocean crashing is, because it might also describe me.
Oh, well, that was fun.
I really like that as a little treat at the end of some of our episodes.
Yeah, not the 1.5-hour episodes though.
No.
People just want to get out. They're like, okay. If they're even listening, they could just pause. But we're like, we have to keep talking. We know how long it is, and we have more to talk about. We
just got to. We just can't stop talking about her. Mm-hmm. But if you enjoy listening to us can't stop talking about her, Please subscribe on whatever platform. We're on literally every podcast platform. Tell a friend about us. Rate us 5 stars. Give us a comment. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear about.
Yeah, and follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at We Need to Calm Down Podcast or WNTCD Podcast on Twitter.
She's so much better at that than I am.
I have a lot more practice.
Anyway, so we will see you next week. Come back. We'll be here.
And when I felt like I was an old cardigan under someone's bed.